Hello, fellow cycling fans. I'm George, and welcome to my preview of the European Championships men's road race. Another duel between Pogačar and Remco Evenepoel. However, this time we have Jonas Vingegaard joining the party, so I expect a thrilling race in France. It is 202.5 kilometers long race from Privas to Guilherand-Grange. We start immediately with the Col du Moulin à Vent, 4 kilometers at around 5%, ideal opportunity for a breakaway formation, then downhill and flat before we reach the finishing line in Grange. Then we do the big loop of around 35 kilometers, including the Saint-Romain-de-l'Herbe climb, some 7 kilometers at 7.2%, and Val d'Enfer 1.6 kilometers at 9.7%. This is a real wall in the middle of the lap, and then we do three of those big laps, and then we do another three small laps of around 17 kilometers, once again featuring the Val d'Enfer climb, but also featuring the small Monte de Castbel, just 300 meters at around 6%. This is how this race looks on the map, starting in Privas, immediately going uphill, then downhill and flat to Grange. Three big loops, this light blue, and then three yellow smaller loops. In the big loop, the focal point, of course, is Saint-Romain-de-l'Herbe climb. As we can see, it is around 7 kilometers at 7.2%, starting with around 7%. Then the second kilometer is by far the steepest, some 10.3%, and then it is mostly 7% all the way to the finish. So it is not the hardest climb, but here I expect a major separation to happen. But considering that we have Remco, Jonas, and Pogačar, I don't really expect anyone to get clear here. Yes, I remember Monchigali in Rwanda World Championships. I saw Pogačar just riding away from everyone except Ayuso, but this time I think it's not going to happen like that. I think this time the short loop will be the decisive. And in the short loop we have this Val d'Enfer. Of course we have it in the big loop as well, but this is a real killer of a climb, 1.6 kilometers at almost 10%, in the middle part even going for 500 meters at around 14%. This is an ideal opportunity for Pogačar to launch his attack. Remco, can he really follow here? That is the big question. If he couldn't on Monchigali, then I don't expect him to do it here. Then Vingegaard, of course, is the dangerous man. If Pogačar can't ride away from him, will Vingegaard work with Pogačar? That is going to be an interesting dynamics. Vingegaard, of course, having Schellmose in his team, fourth in the World Championships, he is a dangerous man. If Denmark can get two men in the final move, then I can see them even taking the gold medal. We know that when a Vingegaard is in a race, that is not a walk in a park for Pogačar. Of course, Vingegaard has inexperience in those one-day races. I can't even remember when was the last time he was among the top 3 or 5 in a one-day race. But still, if he can do it at some course, then he can do it here at the European Championships, where we have more than 3,000 meters of elevation gain. So we need to check the squads of the top teams so we can analyze tactics. Obviously, Pogačar wearing number one, he is the biggest favorite, but not the defending champion. Defending champion is from Belgium, Tim Merlier, obviously not here. He won last year in Belgium on a completely flat course. This time it's for the climbers, but Pogačar only has Fingst, Govekar, Mohoric, Novak, Primožić, Skok, and Steiner. Steiner, Skok, and Primožić and Fingst, can they really help a lot? Maybe on the in the beginning on that flat roads, but once they hit the mountains, then it's up to Novak, Mohoric, and Govekar is also a sprinter. It's going to be hard for him. So this is a weak team for Slovenia. No Tratnik, no Roglic. It's really hard for them to control it. And if Belgium attacks them rather than plays the teammates part of Pogačar, then I think they really have a nice chance of making Slovenia and Pogačar vulnerable. but we saw so far that Remco Evenepoel always think that he is on par with Pogačar, and then Belgium also controls the breakaway, and it goes and plays into Pogačar's hand every time. Belgium with Benoot, Bergmos, Kras, Evenepoel, Leserf, Maurice, Van Hils, and Verweyck. I would send Verweyck or Stef Kras in a breakaway 100% if I were their national coach. Put the pressure on Slovenia, let Pogačar work, Evenepoel ride on his wheel. If they catch your man in a breakaway, well, you're still with Pogačar, right? But he is maybe weaker. But okay, they always try to control the breakaway. That is their thing. Then, of course, Denmark. I've been talking about them a lot. Anton Charming, Alexander Kamp, Niklas Larsen, amazing rider. Mats Pedersen, Kasper Pedersen, Rasmus Pedersen, Skjelmose, and Vingegaard, probably even the hardest and strongest team in this race. Pedersen, just go in a breakaway. What's stopping you? You can do it for sure. You're a strong rider. Put pressure on everyone. And then you have Vingegaard and Skjelmose in the peloton. You can be in the driving seat when it comes to the small lap. Then Italy with Bettiol, Frigo, Garofoli, Scaroni, Ulisi. They also have to try and go in a breakaway, and then the whole nation. France with Baudin, Bernard, Gregoire, Parepente, the brothers Valentin and Aurélien, the Nicolas Prudhomme. He is in an incredible season this year. Then Paul Sexa and Pavel Sivakov, probably on paper the strongest team. Every of this rider can get the medal. Sexa, we saw him really great in Rwanda in the top 10. Sivakov doing great in this one day hilly races. Then Romain Gregoire, if he can survive those climbs, then maybe he can even get the gold medal. Watch out for France. Send the riders in a breakaway. Send riders whenever you can. Put Slovenia under massive pressure. That is the way to win against Pogačar. Yes, I know that it was like a walk in the park for him in Kigali, but that course was much, much harder than this one. It was up and down all day long, almost no flat. This time around, we have a lot of flat, just wall down fair and that small climb in the short loop. If you can get in a big group or in a leading group with Pogačar onto the final circuit, then he is for sure beatable. Other notable teams, of course, Netherlands, but they don't have great riders here. Del Grosso, Arts, Ule, Huising, Patience, and Van Barle. But Spain is interesting with once again Ayuso, Balderstone, Arieta, Pablo Torres, a lot of interesting riders, and then Portugal with Almeida. He is also a dangerous man. All the other riders, I would only mention Artyom Nih. He was incredible in Rwanda, the Russian rider here competing without the flag, but he was really good, even dropping Evenepoel on that Moor de Kigali. It was thrilling to watch him. So watch out for him once again. And then maybe Attila Walter and Tom Squinch can be interesting from the smaller teams. And before we take a look at bookmakers odds, just going to take a look at the weather on Sunday in this French region of Rhone Alps. 10 to 15 degrees Celsius throughout the day. No rain, some stronger winds of around 7 meters per second, so that is around 20-25 kilometers per hour. Maybe that can play a factor since we are doing laps. That means that at some point it will be headwind, at other it will be tailwind. So for a lone attacker, and you know that I mean about Remco and Pogačar, then maybe that can be a disadvantage to them, but we will see. And then finally moving on to bookmakers odds, once again Tadej Pogačar an overwhelming favorite and 1.32. I keep saying that he's beatable. They are just using wrong tactics in these kind of races. It is not the hardest. Yes, we have those climbs, but 7 kilometers at 7%, that is not that much for Pogačar to drop them all. And then on the shorter loop, I don't expect anyone from Slovenia to feature there. He is beatable at 1.33. I think the bookmakers are maybe slightly odd, slightly wrong. Of course, I can see him winning, but it will be a tough one. Remco, the second favorite, then Ayuso, Vingegaard, and Schkelmose. Like I said, the two Danes are dangerous. Romain Gregoire for France, and then Maxime Hills, Almeida, and Scaroni. Okay, I can see them all doing well. Maybe Scaroni, maybe it is a too bit hard for him. Maxime Hills also is not shining this year. So who is my pick to take gold medal? Well, I'm going with Matthias Schkelmose this time, Tadej Pogačar in second, and then Remco Evenepoel for bronze. So that is all for this preview. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. If you did, give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Il Lombardia preview is also coming next week. Have a great day and I hope to see you soon. Bye.